Why don't we do a little second half look ahead here, Brad? We're going to roll out 6 teams, and you and I will debate if we think that they are pretenders or contenders to make the playoffs. And that's not the play-in tournament. They've got to make the first round of the playoffs. So let's start in the Eastern Conference here. Let's go with the Orlando Magic. And right now, the Magic going into the second half of the season, they are 7th in the Eastern Conference, 28-25 record. And you look at where they're at, they're 2.5 games back of the 6th seed, which is the Philadelphia 76ers. This is a Magic team that actually has a negative point differential. They're the only team in the top 9 in the Eastern Conference with a negative point differential, and that is because their offense is in the bottom half of the Eastern Conference. This is a team that a lot of people thought were going to make a big step forward this year. Paolo Banchero was expected to play at an All-NBA level. Hasn't done that. Got off to a shaky start to this year. Desmond Bane, their big trade acquisition, he's been good. Franz Wagner's missed half the season with an injury. Jalen Suggs has missed half the season with an injury. And so I'll ask you, Brad, here, start us off with the Orlando Magic. To make a top 6 seed in the Eastern Conference or to make the playoffs, are they pretenders or do you think the Magic are contenders?
On the surface, based on the roster construct and their starting 5, they should be a hell of a lot better than their current record indicates. But you peel back the layers of the onion and you look at the recent sample size, and I'll just go and give it to you right now, and I'll give you my answer. Over their last 15 games, Pat, the Orlando Magic are number 22 in the NBA in net efficiency. They're number 26 in offensive rating and number 19 in defensive rating. That ain't going to get the job done. I know they have the 11th easiest remaining strength of schedule of any NBA team. And again, I like Suggs and Bane and Wagner and Banchero and Wendell Carter when they're healthy and on the floor and they're back. But I got to say they're a pretender, man, even when they have been back. Maybe it's accumulation of rust and dust. Maybe they can knock it off and start off fast in the second half. They got to prove it to me, but they're looking very much right now like a true blue pretender more so than a contender.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree here, and I'll drink the rat poison. I'll take the cheese here. It's sitting there nice and easy for me right on that trap there. I just want to take I don't want to take a nibble. I want to take the whole thing here because I was actually, as a diehard Knicks fan, I got to truth be told here, I was a little nervous about the Orlando Magic going into the season. This is a team that, they went out pretty decisively against the Boston Celtics last year in the first round of the NBA playoffs, but they not without a battle. They held their own. They fought. They made the first round of the playoffs each of the last 2 seasons. They won 47 games 2 years ago and then only 41 last year. But they dealt with some injuries last season as well. And even though they lost in 5 games to the Celtics, a lot of those games were close. 2 of them were came down to the last couple of minutes before Boston pulled away. And so I look at a team, there's other teams that have been banged up with injuries for sure, but I feel like I have an idea of what the ceiling is for the Orlando Magic, and I think it's way higher than the Miami Heat. I think it's miles higher than the Atlanta Hawks, and at this point, I don't think the Chicago Bulls or the Milwaukee Bucks are even going to threaten to make the playoffs. That's even if they make the play-in tournament. So have they been underwhelming? Yes. Have they been disappointing? Absolutely. Are they still good enough to make the first round of 8 teams in the Eastern Conference playoffs? Yes. And so I'll say they're contenders. Paolo Banchero's got to step up and play better, though. Franz Wagner's got to be healthy. And they've got to they got to play better defense. That was their strength last year, especially in the interior. They have been soft in a lot of games this season. So Orlando's got a lot of work to do. I still think they're contenders to make the NBA playoffs. Let's go to a team that has captured my heart. They have captured the hearts of a lot of NBA fans. And that is the Charlotte Hornets, who looked like they were headed for another lost season about a month and a half ago. And then all of a sudden, things started clicking for the Charlotte Hornets. They are 26-29. Right now, they are 9th in the Eastern Conference, and they are 4.5 games back behind the Philadelphia 76ers. But the Charlotte Hornets, at one point this season, on January 21st, they were 16-28. And now they've won 10 out of their last 11 games going into the break. That one loss was a closely fought, hotly contested battle with all those ejections against the Detroit Pistons. And so Con Knippel has been awesome in his rookie season. He's got a chance still to win Rookie of the Year. He's averaging 19 points, 5.5 rebounds per game. Brandon Miller's their leading scorer. He has turned into a stud. LaMelo Ball is, the assist numbers are a little bit down, but he's playing a very efficient brand of basketball. And so, Brad, I'll just take it here first. I think the two teams, if neither of these teams finish in the top 6, these are my two teams that are going to get out of the play-in tournament. It's the Magic and the Hornets. So for me, the Charlotte Hornets, after a slow start to this year, the way they're playing now, absolutely are contenders to make the NBA playoffs. I'd be pretty surprised at this point. We were having a really fun debate about them a couple weeks ago. Like, wow, could the Hornets get into the play-in? Forget about the playoffs. Now I think it'd be surprising if they don't get into the playoffs. I'll say the Hornets absolutely are contenders.
No disagreement from me, man. Definitely contender through and through. And again, the numbers nerd in your boy backs it up with all the advanced data that's out there. Last 15 games played for the Hornets are packing quite the sting. They're number 5 in the NBA in net efficiency. They're number 2 in offensive efficiency, outstanding, equally outstanding. Number 6 in defense efficiency. They have the 13th easiest remaining strength of schedule, so they don't have a real rough road, to say the least. And I mentioned Miller, but Knippel, man, he's in the Rookie of the Year conversation. He's been awesome this year. Absolutely awesome. Does a little bit of everything. I really like the youth on this roster. I love the roster construct. Diabate has stepped up his game as a rebounder and rim protector. They got the goods, man. They're making the playoffs. I'm in on Charlotte all diggity day long. Definite contender.
Beautiful. All right, let's hit one more team in the East here. Let's go with the Atlanta Hawks, and let's take a look at their record right now. They are 26-30. They are 10th in the Eastern Conference. They are 5 games back of the Philadelphia 76ers, who again occupy that all-important 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. They traded away Trae Young. So it's Jalen Johnson's team through and through, and he is a walking double-double and some nights a triple-double. He's averaging 23 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists per game. Not enough conversation as to how freaking elite Jalen Johnson has become. Nickeil Alexander-Walker's averaging 20 points per game for them. And then, they also traded away Kristaps Porzingis. They've got back Jonathan Kuminga in that trade with the Warriors. They got Buddy Hield. So kind of piecing things together here are the Atlanta Hawks. They got Corey Kispert in a trade, in that DC trade. So it's a very much new look Atlanta team coming out in the second half. And they've got some upside. Do you believe in it, though, Brad? Are the Hawks pretenders or contenders to make the NBA playoffs?
Yeah, are they going to congeal? Are they going to galvanize in enough time with the new bodies in place and establish that team rapport and chemistry? I have my doubts and reservations. They're a team that could be a contender next year, but I think they're going to be more of a pretender this year. Their last 15 games, Pat, just number 23 in net efficiency, number 23 exactly. Michael Jordan, a great number, but not exactly matching that ranking with the all-time great in terms of their offensive efficiency, and number 21 in defense efficiency. They do have the 4th easiest overall remaining strength of schedule. And you're right. The team has gotten better with Trae Young now off of it, sloughing down right now in Washington, D.C. But yeah, man, they're a pretender. I don't think they're going to make the postseason. Give it a year, let it simmer, and they'll show up and show out. It ain't going to happen, though, this year.
I agree with you. I mean, look, they are better off for getting rid of Trae Young. Make no mistakes about it. And they tried to make a 1 or 2 year investment here in Kristaps Porzingis, and he still has battled that POTS, illness that plagued him all throughout the playoffs last year. So now he's Golden State's problem that they're going to hope that he could stay healthy. So they're better for getting rid of Trae Young. But in terms of the scope of this year, I agree with you. They are pretenders. It wouldn't surprise me if they get jumped by the Milwaukee Bucks here. Giannis healthy in the second half, obviously wants to win, wants to make a push. Milwaukee sure as hell ain't going to tank. We know that's a big issue. Wouldn't shock me in the slightest. Atlanta completely drops out of the play-in tournament. They don't make anything, and the Bucks jump in and take their spot. So, yeah, Atlanta Hawks are absolutely pretenders. Let's zip through a couple of teams here in the West really quickly, and let's start with the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry going to have to do a lot of the work by himself here in the second half when he returns from that injury that cost him the last 5 or 6 games. The Warriors are 29-26. They're 8th right now in the West. They're 4.5 games out of the 6th spot. So it's looking pretty likely that they're going to once again, which has been the case, I believe now in 3 of the last 4 years, they're going to have to go in the play-in tournament. And can they get out of that? That's the thing. Jimmy Butler, done for the season. Can Kristaps Porzingis stay healthy? That's a major question for them. That is a major, major question. Steph Curry, Draymond Green going to have to carry this team. Can they do it? Do you think the Golden State Warriors are contenders or pretenders to make the NBA playoffs? And look, I know that they got Chef Curry, but I just don't think that this is a good team. And I'm going to say that they're pretenders. I think there's better teams in front of them. I think there's better teams behind them. We'll get to those teams in just a moment here. But I just, look, I mean, Golden State, they're long gone are the days of the dynasty. And I think that's become painfully obvious by now. They are basically just kind of running into a hole here that they can't dig themselves out of, where it's just like, well, we can't get rid of Steph Curry. He wants to stay, but there's nobody else around him that's good enough. They got to get rid of Draymond Green in the future. They should have done that at the trade deadline. I don't know how you get this team better other than drafting, Mike Dunleavy, for a guy that thinks he's such a genius with how he treated Jonathan Kuminga. He's actually ruining this franchise. He's ruining what the great Bob Myers gave this franchise and built the dynasty with. Again, they have barely finished above 500 each of the last 3 seasons. They have finished third or worse in their own division now for 4 straight years, and it's going to be a 5th straight year here. So they got Steph Curry, so they'll have a chance, but I think they're pretenders when we talk about getting into the NBA playoffs. What do you think, Brad?
I think they squeak in, and it's largely because their defense is still pretty good. I mean, they're top 10 in just defensive efficiency over the last 15 games, and you still have the chef, with his limitless range, his ability to go out there and drop 30 on anybody any given night. Just a gut feeling here. I think Golden State barely gets in the NBA playoffs, but I guess they're a contender, at least for getting in, but they're probably going to get it bounced rather quickly.
Yeah, all right, let's hit one more team here. Portland. We'll do both. Portland Trailblazers and the LA Clippers, because they are right next to one another in the Western Conference standings. When we take a look here at it, as I lost my tab here for a second, here we go. Portland is 27-29. They're 9th in the West. The Clippers are 26-28. They're 10th in the West, but they're both 7 games back of the Timberwolves for the 6th seed. So these teams are almost certainly going to have to get through the play-in tournament when you pretty much assume that the Golden State Warriors are going to be in there, and then whether it's the Suns or the Timberwolves or the Lakers, one of those 3 teams is going to be in there with them. I think the Clippers are pretenders. I think they knew they were pretenders. That's why they traded away James Harden. That's why they traded away Ivica Zubac. With the Portland Trailblazers, I think they're contenders, and I think if Denny Avdija stays healthy, he's been battling that back injury, but he played in the All-Star game. I like what he's done. I think they got a great core group of young guys here that have really started to gel together. I love Donovan Clingan, former UConn Husky. Guy snatches like 15 rebounds a night. Tamani Kamara is a really great 2-way player for them. They got the veteran Jeremy Grant. They've got Drew Holiday as well, another veteran. So I like this team. And remember, they had to battle a ton of adversity in the beginning of the season with Chauncey Billups screwing up his life. So I think that they're at this point with Denny Avdija, the star power he has, I would trust Portland out of these 3 teams, between them, the Warriors, and the Clippers, as the most likely to get into the playoffs. What do you think, Brad?
Yeah, no disagreement from me at all. I think the Clippers are definitely pretenders based on all the reasons that you outlined. And just to kind of piggyback on why I believe that the Trailblazers are the real deal Holyfields and a viable contender, Pat, they have the easiest remaining schedule of any NBA team. So just more fire. The Trailblazers are for real, for real.